show him the Sundance picture
No.
from high school.
No.
Vic's first band. There's a picture right there.
Yeah.
He played
There we are, Allman Brothers right there.
Would you play every week?
Yeah, we played every weekend when I was 16. My other horn player killed himself. We were young. He shot himself right after that. Never forgave himself for not being able to play in tune, I think.
It's a lot more of a real Southern literary perspective. You know, maybe not that different than what the Sex Pistols were documenting London in the mid-'70s, you know, and how it felt to be unemployed and sort of at a loss for a life and having to make your own life in a different way. I think a lot of people will identify with him and see, you know, see a more human side of music.
I am a rough ball of twine. I have a duty to do. I've been tied to the table, but now I am frazzled and aloof, degenerate.
Okay, so my granddaddy wrote this song, and he told me in the 70s when I was a kid that it had good words for the 50s.
You know, it's not a showbiz thing, it's not a glamorous thing, you know, it's you know, somebody who sits in a chair and plays music. And this past year with the Sweet Relief record and concert that happened was, it was great. I mean, that was a real special night.
Sweet Relief is an organization that benefits musicians who don't have health insurance.
When we found out that the songs were all cover versions of Vic Chesnutt, we were delighted because we're big fans of his records.
I've been writing good songs lately, which I was worried about. I thought, oh no, I'm going to sign to Capitol and I'm never going to be able to write a good song again. And they're going to hate me and they're going to, you know, drop a big load of records on top of my head and squish me to death or something.
I think it's great now that he's going to have a platform erected, you know, by a major label for him to be able to broadcast his work from.
I think some of the best songs I've ever recorded are on this record. So now I've got 10-year-old songs up to, you know, songs that were, actually I finished one verse in the studio of one song, so I kind of run the gamut.
You know, the record is real well-rounded. It shows a lot of sides of what Vic has done and what he may be, you know, where he's headed. It's really cool.
Old church song.
You found me with the libertines. I fold in line. My monthly dole of magazines, beaming bistro shine. In my ladle is your plum, and my daily staple of your cutesy crumbs, of your cutesy falling crumbs.
It's hot as hell. My pen don't work no more. This is me. I'm trying to draw a picture of me being happy. Being happy because I sent off the master to west of Rome yesterday, and it's about time too. We're finally done. It's in the hands of the factory girls now. It's about time. Now, there's nothing more exciting than sitting around at 4 o'clock in the morning. Tina's asleep, and I'm in there all alone in the living room. You know, and I'm just propelled into this like weird mystic, you know, lunacy where it's just words and words and words, just, and, you know, mainly, and, you know, emotions, and words that go with these emotions, and you have to, like, scramble them down before you, you know, lose it, you know, and there's nothing more sad than losing it, too, you know, when you're inspired, and you're so, you know, just, like, wired on this emotion, you know, you could, and then, you know, it doesn't last forever, you know, and they're fleeting moments, and it's so sad, you know, when you lose it, you know, but it's also kind of like a, you know, wonderful orgasm or something, and once you get it out, you know, and then you have it, and you keep, and I mean, I shouldn't say you, I don't know what you do, but I know what I do, and I get, you know, I just get excited, and I keep singing these songs, the same song over and over and over and over and over all night long, and then I'll wake Tina up in the morning, I go, Tina, listen to the song I wrote, and I start singing, she goes, yeah. You know, sometimes she likes it, and sometimes she don't. People often ask me, how come you don't write songs about, you know, your wheelchair and stuff? And I say, you know, I don't know, I guess I do, you know, and every song, I guess, is about it. Not really about it, you know, I guess not about it. You know, what rhymes a wheelchair anyway? I don't know, you know. I was living on Meg Street, and Granny called me one day after I'd recorded Little, that my first record, and she said, "Are you going in the studio anytime soon?" And I was, "No, Granny, I don't think I am." She said, "Well, are you writing any songs?" And I said, "All the time, Granny." And she said, "Well, maybe you better go in there and record them." And I was like, "What?" Yeah. And she said, "Because, you know, when the bug hits, that's the time to scratch it." And I was like, wow, that's the most, oh man, my Granny understands it. All this stuff.
Michelle loves Willie, our little Sarah, daughters of the American Revolution. Striper loves Jesus, and I love a girl against my better judgment, 'cause I feel like a squirrel. My roommates, they got married, and I booted up, and a friend of ours told me that I was disgusting. My roommates, they got married, and I booted up, and a friend of ours told me that I was disgusting. Wall Holly's pinned to the edge of South Carolina. We interstate travel just to free a man from China. A hotel full of Pakistanis, and a front porch filled with greasy, greasy grannies. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch it. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch it. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch. Wall holler pinned to the edge of South Carolina. We interstate travel just to free a man from China. Hotel full of Pakistanis and a front porch filled with greasy, greasy grannies. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch it. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch it. When the bug hits, that's the time to scratch.
Vic first started playing at the 40 Watt in a band called the La-Di-Das, and they were very fun, garagey kind of band. They do ballads and they do sloppy rock songs too, and they're sometimes incredibly brilliant and sometimes just utter chaos on stage. But after the La-Di-Das broke up, Vic started performing solo, and he approached me about playing at the club, and we set up a string of gigs that lasted for almost a year every Tuesday night. And there were some pretty amazing gigs in there. Almost every week it'd be something entirely different. You'd have a different set of musicians, completely different set of songs. You never knew what he was going to pull out of his hat.
Great-grandfather with its pious fear, bathed in the river all his years. The many books that lined his wall, Jews and Gentiles held him at all. Nathan stepped through the broken window, looked to the river where his mother once floated. Nathan stepped through the broken window, looked to the river where his mother once floated.
I first heard Vic in the clubs in Athens, and he just seemed like this person that was reporting on everything that was going on in town in a very acerbic way. You know, he's got a pretty dry wit, and I realized that what he was doing had reached a point where if it hadn't been put down on tape, it might get lost forever, and he might never go on from there. And I felt that it was important enough to drag him into the studio, kind of kicking and screaming, and make him put the songs down. And you probably know the story, but we put down 21 songs in a day and mixed them with overdubs. He sat down with his guitar and just sang, and we rolled tape and didn't stop for 10 hours, and that was that. We ordered pizza, and we had some bottled water, and that's where Little came from.
My earliest memory is of holding.
This record is a departure. He's got a band now. We brought in all these people to play different things. We brought in ideas that he's worked with before on his 4-track at home, but this is the first time he's ever worked on a multi-track and really concentrated on what's going to go down permanently, and I think it might have been a little bit of a shock for him, but he's pretty happy with the result, I believe, and I'm happy with him.
This
Well, this record, you know, is quite a departure, I think. Michael had been saying, you know, he wanted to produce it, you know, again. He wanted to work with me again. And, you know, which is cool with me because I wanted to work with him again because all he did, you know, last time was order pizza, yak on the phone and say, roll it. That was good. Push on the little button, go, very good. You know, which is, you know, cool, you know. I was hungover and I just was recording. I didn't know it was going to be a record. But this one, you know, he like, you know, out of his busy schedule, he took a big chunk of time to work in very harrowing conditions on this record. I was very impressed with the way he handled the strings. You know, my nieces, they were great. They did great. The part that he composed for them on Where Were You is just gives me shivers. I mean, it was amazing. Really. I mean, he should be thoroughly proud of that.
Where were you 2 years ago when I was locked out there at the barn? Some certain Athens, a sacred monster was doing me in with the charms. We could have been chatting heart to heart on that front porch with a view. Where were you, girl, when I needed you?
Pizzicato strings and on my nasty little song. I love it. Well, Tina and I got married. And we came back to Athens after I'd been in California for a while. And, oh, the stories were offline about, you know, what the deal was. Everybody was, like, all mad that we got married or something. I don't know what the deal was. But there was, like, the sordid little, like, little theory meal and little rumors were going crazy about what the, you know, because, you know, various involvements or something, you know, the way, you know, Athens is a small town and, you know, everybody's involved with everybody, you know, and so, anyway, I wrote Soggy Tongues in about 5 minutes, and it's the perfect, you know, it's the perfect, you know, summation of us getting married.
And we ended up getting married in a truck stop just outside of Dallas. It's called Griffin's World's Largest Truck Stop. And we had to stop because the truck overheated, and we sat there for 4 hours with this waitress named Juanita with lots of eyeshadow and big hair, and she watched us get married. And then we went and bought a ring at the counter and put the ring on at the gas pump, and that was it.
The rabbits are cooking breakfast. The fog is fragrant. The girl, she is waking up against the famous vagrant. The cool council is tallying the fines to be levied. The girl, she is tightly grinning. The vagrant thinks it's all too heavy.
Yeah, I grew up in Zebulon, and it's not another planet. People go, "Where are you from?" I say, "Zebulon." They go, "It sounds like another planet." No, it's not another planet. It's named after Zebulon Pike, who's never been to Pike County, but he was a huge hero in the 1840s, I think, when they
founded it.
We would go visiting in the summer. My dad would start playing guitar and Vic would just stand and listen to him or sit at his feet and watch him. When Mother and Daddy moved to Pike County, they lived right around the corner from us. And Vic was always up at Grandma and Granddaddy Carter's. And Daddy started teaching Vic how to play guitar. And it was very shortly thereafter that Daddy let him go on his own because he said that he had taught him the basics and that Vic was a natural talent and he could further advance by himself and let his own creativity flow. He was really getting really good when the accident happened. And of course then with the paralysis he couldn't play at all. And one day he loved guitar, he wanted to play, and one day he had a push cuff, you know, to push the wheelchair with. Had a push cuff and super glue, and he super glued a pick into the right cuff, and the next thing I knew he was trying to chord again, and it took a lot of concentration for him to manipulate the chords, and then he was strumming just like that. He couldn't do anything else because it was all wrist action, and he just persevered, and pretty soon he was, you know, hitting the strings. And my dad had always wanted to be a professional musician, and because of his family life and my mother wanting him to stay close to her, he never did it. And it kind of makes me feel good that Vic is doing it because he's sort of achieving my daddy's dreams. And I think my daddy would like that. And I think Vic feels good about it too.
He was just like the coolest ever. He played guitar. He was the great guitar player. He played those chords like it was so beautiful. He played country music. He played both kinds of music, country and western. And he was great. He was great. He played that old Gibson L7 that I have to this day. L7, I love it. It's a Gibson L7.
Thin and unshaved, drunk and mysterious. Oh, I must say, lifestyle is curious.
Welcome. Welcome to my town. This is the beautiful City Hall. We weren't married there. Here's the beautiful Athens Police Department, yes, who arrested me for murder once, which I didn't commit. The Linden House over there where the art gallery is, where I once did million hits of acid and got arrested, which I did do.
Someday I'm gonna get a career. Someday I'm gonna stop wasting all my time.
And there's my bank, where I have about $5 in it.
Someday I'm gonna be rich. Someday I'm gonna be bona fide.
There's the beautiful water tower by the chicken plant on Chase Street, where I've never gone to, but I would, given half a chance, to see a renegade chicken run around with its head cut off.
Someday I'm gonna be virtuous.
There is the beautiful Baptist church, who gets mad if you get drunk in their parking lot.
Someday I'm gonna be hot. Someday I'm gonna be bigger than big. Someday
Down there is where the Uptown used to be, where I got my start in this town, playing on Saturday afternoons to about 5 people, who all screamed and said, "Do Eagles, play the Eagles," which I did, because they gave me liquor. I came here to go to college because I wanted to be an English teacher. So I'll just
I started meeting all these wild people. People, you can't believe how amazing they are. You know, just spirit, talent, just like Seawright, of course. You know, he's his whole family. You know, Sam too. It's one of the first painters I ever talked to in my whole life. Sam was. You know, and I remember asking him a question about. He said, I went to the swamp and I saw these geese take flight, and I was like, so I mean, how does that end up? I mean, is that what inspires you? How did that end up on your canvas? Did you draw these geese flying? And he said, no, it's not that. I felt this power from these geese, and then I took the, you know, and when I went to paint and I thought about these geese, it gave me this power, and I was like, whoa! So that's what, you know, that's what the kind of inspiration you get. You know, it's like, you know, it's this power in his shoulder to push the paint around, which is like, you know, I was just so excited about meeting people like that, you know, and John writing his poetry and talking, having a little beer with you, you know, and he was always so inspiring to me, you know, just, he gave me so much support, you know, he was just amazing.
I had known Vic for about 4 years, I guess, before I ever met his family, his parents and grandmother. He was playing at an unusual place for him to play at the Unitarian Church here in town. And I got in late and just grabbed a seat where I could. Didn't realize that the people I was sitting behind were his folks. Vic got up and pointed them out. And as he went on in his show, he started appearing a little bit nervous. And when he got to Speed Racer, he stopped and said that he wanted to apologize to his parents. He went ahead and got through with the song and said, Granny, I'm sorry, Granny. She was there kind of crying, controlling herself. When the show was over, I went up and introduced myself to his folks, and his dad was very grim and said, well, Vic's a very talented young man, but we have some stuff that we need to get straightened out. They went across the street to the Dunkin' Donuts, and I didn't see him for the rest of the evening.
I used to watch Speed Racer with that hyper attitude that I carry on me here. To this a fluorescent enlightenment, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. Oh, I am intelligent. I am intelligent. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. Oh, I am an atheist. I am an atheist. My father, he always said, I'm just a workhorse, you know. But he was, you know, he was a gentleman. You didn't know it, you know. He was powerful, and he worked hard all his life. And I love him, you know. I dream about him every night now, which is funny. Since he's been dead, I've dreamed about him like every night. Every night. He and Tina talk every night in my dreams, and they never met. And my daddy, he worked for Eastern. I could just fly to Chicago, get off the plane, you know, walk around the airport, get back on a plane and fly back, cost $5, you know. So they let me do that all the time. I loved Eastern Airlines. It was the official airline of the Magic Kingdom, you know. So it was like, wow, it must be good, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, I don't know what it was, the Reagan era and I don't know what happened, you know. That was when I guess I became older, you know. I was getting older in the Reagan era, and how, you know, completely
awry everything went. You know, like next thing I knew is like these people bought the company. You know, I don't know. Everybody was in cahoots. Everybody was sleeping with everybody. Chase Manhattan was sleeping with the board of directors. I don't know what was going on, but something was going on, and Frank Lorenzo bought it, and I don't know what happened, but anyway, they started selling off all the, I don't know what it was. It was just completely dishonest, disheartening. It's what killed my father. I know it is. The stress from that killed my father. So I know Frank Lorenzo murdered my father. I know it, by his shenanigans. He did it. And me and, just before Daddy died, we had this good plan. We were going to kill Frank Lorenzo. We were going to go to Dallas, drive to Dallas in my van. I was going to be the drive man. He was going to be the shoot man. We were going to kill him just because, we would have gone to jail, hell, he would have died, weeks later. But I didn't care, I was like, Daddy, this can't go, there's, we need to kill him. It's just like, it's just so wrong to do this to people. It's slavery all over again. It's not slavery. It's just disgusting, icky. It's like terrible. It made me so mad at the time. I just couldn't function. I couldn't function in day-to-day life because watching my father, shrink as a human because of what was going on, 1,000 miles away in corporate boardrooms by them, pushing these little buttons, Well, my father, he worked for Eastern Airlines for nearly my whole life. Yes, it disappeared right before his eyes. And so my daddy up and died. So I sit and stare at the clouds, chattering cuss words, 'cause I am too cool to pout. I'd rather be flying. I'd rather be flying. I'd rather be flying. I'd rather be flying. 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 Imports and altercations, my faculties on a shoestring vacation. I settled down on a hurt as big as Robert Mitchum and listened to Lucinda Williams. Oh, convenient lies, rubber knives. I'm a dastardly villain doing Billy Dives. Now before E, except after me, I'm dousing my vitals at breakneck speed. You and your little entourage played amazing little parlor games in the garage. Like a jury of my peers, triangulating my pretty point of exasperation.